Welcome to the Stoked Bloke Show, peoples, coming to you from the Pipeline Studios, a courtesy of a New Earth project, and my fine feathered friend here, Peter PK King.
Happy Earth Week.
Good to see you, mate. Again, the old branding of days, even if it is for a good cause, kind of gets under my skin. And once you go, Happy Earth Day...
Now, we don't have to do anything else 364 days a year. It's just on
Earth Day's a good one. It is one of the most consequential owned and branded days because it's for the Earth. But at the same time, they all pester me a little bit, you know. It's this day and that day. And
I know.
I just want it to be yesterday or today.
Right?
Yeah,
okay.
mate, in the moment,
every day.
So we are more or less midway through the WSL's year. We're 5 events in. They're at Bells Beach
at least
as we
halfway
speak.
Through the cut line.
Yes, to 7 events before they cut. I hadn't even thought about the cut. I almost forgot that it was here, and I haven't actually. I'm going to be honest. I've only watched one heat all year because I was in Australia and New Zealand. That was inconvenient with time, and life's just been so crazy that I haven't had time to sit and watch heats.
Do you even know what event is on right now?
Yes, it's Bells Beach, and I know Bells Beach is on because we love Bells Beach.
Is your name on the stairs?
My name is on the stairs.
Is that because you wrote it in wax or because they printed it because you're a former winner?
They printed it because I was a former winner.
Ooh, what year?
1991.
Did they have cars back then?
Yes, they did. And it was even the car park had bitumen on it and everything. It was quite modern. Damien Hardman and I surfed 2 finals at Bells Beach together. I don't know the year the other one was.
Did he get that
but
one?
He won the other one.
Who won first?
That final, I believe, was the one at...
Winky?
No, down the Great Ocean Road, Joanna, which has a soft spot in my heart since we did Road Song with Surfing World magazine way back when.
Unreal zone, huh?
Oh, incredible zone. And then when you see the surf at Bells Beach and how big it gets there, and you comprehend that it's always twice as big down the coast, makes you realise that great Southern Ocean just gets ginormous swells. So very proud to have got my name on the stairs and to be a part of that history. It's always one that means a lot, and it was the first event I ever left home, big event that I left home to go do.
How much did
Easter
you win?
At Bells. When I won it.
Yeah, how much was the prize money?
I have no idea, but you know what it said on the little thing I listened to? It said 25 grand.
You still have it?
I don't where did the 25 go is what I want to know.
How fast was it going?
It was most probably already paid
They
off
might
on
as well
credit
have
cards.
just poured it in a hat that had a hole in it.
Around, I don't know. I saw him. They go, Barton Lynch, David Stanfield goes, Barton Lynch wins $25,000. I went, wow, really? Where did that go? I don't remember.
Did you get a little bell to take home back then?
No, I've got it. Yeah, I've got a bell, and then I got a bell for second. I've got a few bells, and then maybe one year they even gave you bells for third, little ones. So I've got a few bells at home, and they're pride of place.
What board did you ride in the final to win?
I rode a Brothers Nielsen shaped by Thornton Fallender. His stuff at Nias, which is legendary and historic, and we did that beautiful roundhouse cutty. That changed a lot of people's ideas on what a cutback could be when we all saw that.
Incredible footage of him in Indo.
Incredible surfer and incredible shaper, and I had this board. It was just a 7 every wave it ever rode, anywhere, any types of conditions, and it just floated really good over everything. It wasn't particularly like one where you go, this is the best board I've ever had, like a magic crazy one. It was just so consistent, so good that as a competition board, it just gave you a really good platform.
That's a longer story. How important is it just to know your board's going to work? It doesn't have to be the most finely tuned craft in the ocean, but if you just know it's going to be there for you, that's important.
It's so important, and you can tell maybe when you pick them up. And Lion, we were out here at Gums the other day, Lion and I, and he's got a 5.6, hell yeah, Jimbo Yarbrough with the Dick Brewer stickers on it. It's just magic with this the crazy bottoms that those guys do, Dick and Jimbo do. Full double concaves, just really complex bottoms. I was riding this 5.11, then I rode Gavin Beshan's board, then I jumped on my son's board, 5.6. And that thing went so good.
Really?
So good. So beautiful in transition. All of a sudden I went from struggling to boom, 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 boom. And I looked at Gavin, he looked at me, I went, oh my God, this board is magic. And that's the power of a good board, is it makes you better. It raises that level into your surfing to a level that you don't want to do it again. You put it away until the next heat because you want to save them. They're so special, those magic ones.
Do you think you could ride that Brothers Nielsen board you rode in the final today?
Yeah, I'm pretty thruster. It was 91, so they've been around for a while. And I feel like I can ride chunky boards pretty good for a skinny bloke, and I suppose because we grew up on chunky boards, so volume's your friend, it seems, especially as you get older, you know that. It gets harder as you get older. So...
Yeah, Bells is on.
Yeah, let's have a little quick look.
Did you watch any heats of that?
No. I've watched, the only thing I've watched all year, I was on the tarmac, about to fly from Canada, the plane has mechanical problems, we're stuck there, I turn on WSL, and it's the final of El Salvador. And I get to watch Jordy win on Big G-Man's board, on his father's board, and it was so emotional. I've known them for a very long time. I've known Graham, his father, Jordy's father, since he was a little boy, and when I won the Gunston 500 or the Renault Pro, or one of those events, I think it was the Gunston in Durban, I left my trophy with Jordy when he was like a 2-year-old. So they have my trophy from winning the Gunston, that family, from way back in the late 80s. So I've known him a really long time. And to watch Jordy's demeanour and the way he has gracefully aged and how he has just continued to keep applying himself through the highs and lows and just keep going. It was an emotional win, mate. That was beautiful.
If the big fella makes the top 5, you have to give him a chance as much as anyone.
Well, at the moment he's in 5th, right? So we've got Italo in 2nd, who won in 1st, who won Abu Dhabi. Then we've got Ethan, who's in 2nd, and really I feel like between those two you've got your world title match almost, because there's so much respect for Ethan Ewing surfing. So much, grassroots. Hey, everyone loves the way
everyone's
that guy rides.
Fan.
Everyone's a fan. It's like you're watching a Mick Fanning reinvention of some sort, and it's just got that beautiful, like Jordy's got that beautiful demeanour, calm, collected, always respectful, and then you watch him do them turns and you just go, wow, how good was that? But he hasn't had his win yet. And he needs to break through for a win at some point. Iago is in 3rd after winning in Portugal, and is he not the most stylish, beautiful to watch surfer maybe on that thing?
For sure.
Yeah, and goofy for sure, because Ethan on one side.
No, he's the most stylish surfer.
Yeah, he's just so beautiful to watch. So Iago's there in 3rd. He's had an event win. Barron is 4th.
Local boy.
4th after winning Pipeline, and then Jordy won El Salvador. He's in 5th. That gets us up to kind of date. And then you go Leonardo in 6th, Miguel in 7th, Rio Waida in 8th, Jack Robinson back in 9th. That's kind of, he'd be sort of wondering, but I feel like those years where you hide back there, things aren't going your way, and you kind of just need a couple of wins and then it turns. He's in a good position. It'd be nice for him to be back there rather than in the spotlight. Kanoa in 10th, and then Felipe, the world champ, is in 11th, and we saw him kind of complaining about his scores he got in El Salvador first round. And when you're the world champ, you can't just do what you did before. You go out there and you go, I'm ripping, this is what I was getting scores for before. You feel like it's the same thing. They've seen it before. They don't need to see it again. They want something new, and that's what Felipe's challenged by.
Describe that Bell's Wave real quick for the audience. Yeah. I mean, it looks like it's a long wall, but really there's like 2 hits and then you wait.
Yeah, if you get 3, you're good.
It's timing the best wave in the set is really important.
That's super important, and what they do in that bay that you see as Bell's Beach is shaped like that bay, and you've got Rincon up here, and that swell comes in, it hits centre side first, it'll hit Rincon. The earlier waves in the set can come from back here and go all the way, and then as the set gets older it fills more in, and towards the end they're over there and they're fat and they're burgery and you don't get anything. So you really need to be on those earlier waves in the set that give you enough wall to get up and down in before the pedestrian part in the middle, where you've got to stay energised and you've got to look enthused and try and turn that middle nothing into something where they don't lose interest because you've lost interest. That's a really important part. Then something big on the inside, and you're going 8s if you want on your backhand. So then the one person I wanted to discuss is, what about old Griffin Colapinto back in 26th?
He just had some losses.
Cosby's brother's in front of him, 24th, first year. It's one of them years that challenges your faith, challenges your constitution, challenges. You need to go through them. And in a lot of ways, while he's had those close calls at home and stuff, which would be emotional, he's way back there, man. But something could change. He could be the spoiler in a world title race where all of a sudden he finds form at the wrong time that impacts someone else. So that's the men's. For the women, Caitlin Simmers, who's in first place, quick wrap of the women's too, she just lost to Sally Fitzgibbons at Bells Beach, and Sally was back in 16th place and was doing terrible. Caitlin's in first, she's leading the world. That right point you would think suits her down to the ground there at Bells, and Sally Fitzgibbon with such a rich history at Bells Beach and a passion that is beyond most people's, because she keeps losing, but she keeps losing at the CT level, and when it gets to the four-person heat, she's unstoppable. And she's so good in four-person heats. If she can transition and understand what was successful in the four-person and what's not being successful in the woman-on-woman, she's a chance. But big win for her at Bells Beach today or yesterday or whenever we get this out. You'll figure that. So, Gabriella, after winning in El Salvador, Molly Picklum in third, Caroline in fourth, the world champ after winning in Abu Dhabi.
Not much surprises there at the top. Gabriella was deserving of being noticed in the top five. She surfed so good, and she finally got a chance to let loose on those walls.
Yeah, that was great. So, like old school surfing, but with new school energy and power and drive and speed. And yeah, that was great to see. Congrats to Richard Dog Marsh, her coach, and the team there. Tyler from Winning Pipe is in fifth place. So we're kind of, we're at that point in time that's pretty funny. Betty Lou's back in 13th. Would have expected more from her, so I bet she's a little disappointed. That's where we're at. Bells Beach, we get to the cut after Margaret River, 7 events, and we don't want to talk about it. No, thank you. All right, other things, mate. A couple of sadder notes. Passing of Greg Browning, should I say. Yeah. You would have known. I never really knew Greg so well. Obviously, I'd seen him around, but we'd never really had a conversation or spent time together. Could you tell us a little bit?
Yeah, Greg was just a wonderful guy. He was obviously came to fame in those Taylor Steele videos, part of that crew, the Momentum Generation. He's from L.A., Manhattan Beach.
Oh, yeah?
So he was, and then he transitioned kind of into a filmer.
Yeah.
And he spearheaded a lot of that drive-through series, which became really popular. And he's just a good personality to have around. Always stayed a great surfer and always able to film, help out. I think he, acted like a mentor to some people too. Carissa wrote a beautiful eulogy to him. Yeah. He was really a mentor to a lot of the surfers, even though he would be working for a brand, kind of like a coach or an encourager. Just a wonderful human being. Yeah, he succumbed to ALS. I mean, it's a frightening disease, really debilitating. And
we pay our respects. We know he touched a lot of people, and I'm sure, when you pass, if there's an opportunity to glance back down or even energetically get a sense of your impact and to see how the outpouring of respect, that would make you feel good, Greg. So good innings, mate. Well done. And thank you for everything you contributed to the sport of surfing.
I love that sentiment. You guys say good innings.
Good innings,
because that's referencing like
in cricket. You go out for your innings, you have a good innings, you've done well, and that's like life, You're out there as long as it goes, and as long as you can handle it. And a good innings is a valid thing, mate. That's all we ask for.
That good innings is so great because it's what you're doing for your team too. Yeah. It's a personal performance, but it's also what you're doing for your team on your team's behalf.
Yeah.
So as a personal way to eulogize someone, that's such a cool thing to say.
Yeah, and in that sense, in senses of, paying our respects, my wife and child are down in New Zealand as we speak, and they did a mercy dash a couple of days down there to try and get there in time to see Holly's mum before she passes, and she's, moments away from passing. So to them down there, and to Margaret and Rolly, that's her mum's name, Margaret, and to all the family, Nick and Susan, all the family, it's been a really sad time for all of us, and so sending our love, and again, good innings, mate. You know what I mean? That's where you've got to kind of, in the passing, in this transference of life, whatever it is, you need to find the positives and see the opportunity and for the life that was lived, for the innings that was had, and thinking of those guys down there, the thing that, who was the genius who thought it was a great idea to put a television screen in front of a driver driving a car? Who did this? Who is this idiot?
What do you mean?
Whose idea was this?
You mean like the big screens?
You sit there in the car, and more importantly, more than the road, is this television screen, like a computer screen in certain cars.
So you're saying for all the things that you're looking at, all the information. Well, shouldn't it be in front of the wheel? Why is it over there to the right?
So why should you not be looking at the road? Because let's think about driving a car. This is a very simple activity, mate.
Yeah.
You hold on, you steer it 1 foot, you stop and you start. It's so simple.
It's a golf cart.
It doesn't need a television screen, a computer, an animation, all of this shit distracting people from watching the road.
But do you remember?
They're encouraging them to take their eyes off the road.
Do you remember when it was legal to text in a car? It never occurred to anyone. Well, we did it like this. You would drive, and you'd have your phone up here.
Yeah. So you could sign it on the same line.
Road.
If you were
now
hiding
that it's illegal,
you're
going like this.
Yes,
and I see people driving for 180 feet like this and drifting. It should almost just go back to being legal.
That again, it's the addiction of the screen and the consolidation of that addiction and
You're
that
right.
impact.
Let me see what this says about that. I'm just kidding.
And you know what? Here's the other side.
We're watching you on a screen right now.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, people. We'll do it. You know what we want to do? Stoked Bloke Live on YouTube and have the public ask us questions.
Well, you have to be careful.
And engage. No, we only answer the ones we feel comfortable answering.
Couldn't you do it live in front of a crowd too, though?
Well, that's what we're going to do, some dinners, some big functions, some Stoked Bloke Live functions, and tour it around. Lovely food, stories, entertainment, special guests.
When you say lovely food, you mean snags?
No, proper food. Good meal, proper meal, hearty food. Yeah, so this television thing in front of the driver, I'm against it. The rear vision camera, as a dinosaur, I've learnt to kind of go, I appreciate that, because sometimes they'll blind spot and looking around. But really, whoever accepted that as a good idea, putting a television screen in front of a driver driving a car, which is a very simple process and doesn't need anything else. The problem with the modern world is I just realised, when you map everything, you never get lost. And the best adventures happen when you get lost. So we're in Vancouver awaiting our US visa. So the reason we're in Canada is because our US visa expired in April, and we went to renew and had our appointments, and we're back on a 2-year visa. So
Trump let you in?
We're in, mate.
Yeah.
We're in. The convicts got in. No. But we're in Vancouver, and everywhere we would go, North Vancouver, and everywhere we go, I'd get asked, shall I map it? And I go, no, let's just get lost. And I realised that that's the other thing. Getting lost is part of the journey, and the best stories come from. Remember, we took that wrong turn and we ended up I remember coming out of Cape Town Airport and taking some wrong turns and ending up in Crossroads. The community, favela, so to speak, the Crossroads, found myself in the middle of going, what did I do? And it's one of them stories that stayed with me forever. Getting lost is wonderful. Using maps all the time, so you are always safe and sound and delivering, that's not good either. So we've got some technological advice coming out of this week's episode.
On that point, something that bothers me, and I've been mentioning it lately, is we're all synced up on the exact same time because of these devices.
Yeah, true.
Remember, your watch might be a minute slower than mine, and my watch and the other clock in the house might be 2 to 3. There was a little variance, and the whole world was on their flow of their thing.
And a little bit
now
offset.
They've got us all in sync, and pretty soon they're going to know where we're all at, which they probably already do.
Yeah, they do.
I don't like that we're all in sync on the exact same time.
That's a good one too. That's exactly right.
I used to set my watch 5 minutes ahead.
Yeah, so you're always
and I liked it. I was a little early to things.
I stopped wearing a watch in heats, mainly because Tom Curren didn't, and he was so good. And I would sit there in the heat, and I'd look at the watch and go, 11 minutes to go. Okay. And then I'd look back down and go, 11 minutes 30. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
And I'd look down and go, 12:50. Stop looking at the watch. Pay attention. Get rid of that watch. I had to take it off because it was dictating the flow of my life.
We were talking
in the wrong
about
way.
time and modern conveniences getting in the way, but just you mentioned his name, Tom Curren.
Yes, mate.
Was there something going on otherworldly with him when you guys competed against him? Did it seem like magic waves came to him at the right moment, or he'd be sitting somewhere where there was no wave and then a wave popped up? I mean, 100%. There was a divine something over that guy's touch. He was also a good surfer, but something was happening, right?
Yeah, something was happening on a very deep level, a DNA-based level almost, where he'd been passed on from his father's commitment and dedication, and the second generation of that iteration of human.
I mean, you're a world champion and you were competing against him. Like, did you feel that in the water sometimes? You could just say, oh, he got lucky, but it happens too many times to take it for granted.
That's exactly was my experience. 7 times he got me in a row, first 7, right? And it started, I remember sitting there in a heat in Japan, and he sat at a spot where not a single wave had broke all day.
I've heard these kind of stories.
Yeah, it hadn't broken there all day. It was at that outside reef. It wasn't, and I had like 4 7s already on the inside, and I went, here, it's Gonski's best 4 waves or whatever, or 3, I can't remember, but I was like, he's gone, I got this one, mate. And from where he was, out of nowhere, this thing breaks and he gets a 10 or whatever, backs it up with a couple and I lose. Nothing had broken there all day. I don't know where the confidence and the courage came from to follow that instinct. Well, I do now. And that's one of those lessons that I teach in my coaching, is the differentiating between your self-thinking and your self-feeling. And there's internal information that comes to you, that rises up, that comes from your instinct, your intuition, the DNA, the life of humanity on the planet, since living in caves and stuff. That's in us, all that information. And I feel like he was just able to trust himself and listen to himself, where I was a nervous wreck and I was a OCD, set squaring, cleaning the wax off my board before every heat, just crazy, wanting perfection, looking for perfection, hunting for perfection with no faith or confidence in myself whatsoever, just trying to make myself better any way I could by grabbing anything. And where he just knew that what he had, it was powerful, mate. And he wasn't
a bully. He didn't look like a competitive bully. I'm not saying he wasn't competitive, but he wasn't one of those guys like flexing and walking around the beach and like,
and he understood that wasn't going to help him, and it wasn't him. So again, in the persona of who presented themselves to competition, he was very competitive and very hungry, and you saw it when people would challenge him, he was in the paddle races and he's in that stuff, but he understood. He marketed and positioned his brand beautifully, even in an unconscious way, perhaps. He trusted himself and had that relationship with the ocean that was incredible. And then the posture and the timing and the poise, of which I had never really appreciated till just the other day when someone posted it goofy. And I went, maybe I can watch this without my bias, because he's now a goofy. And I watched it and I went, oh my gosh, it's just so good. It's just so good. And it was because when you're competitive with people, it's hard to accept how good they were, because you couldn't allow that to be, because you were going to smash them. So you had to drag them down while you got yourself up.
And you would have had that with Tom Carroll, Tom Curren. I mean, you went up against some of the craziest.
Yeah. When names. You go Ock, Tom Carroll, Tom Curren, you go 3 of the greats of all time. And then you go Martin Potter and Gary Elkerton and Derek Ho.
Gary Elkerton was a beast,
and then you go Dave McCall. What about Damien Hardman? Talk about beasts.
Hardman, yeah.
Damien Hardman was so that generation, more people got world titles in our generation than any other generation. It was the most. We all got one from.
Well, Gary Elkerton didn't. He should have.
Yeah, and he had the 4 seconds, and then he got a Masters after it, a few of them, and didn't stop till he did. You know what I mean? Like that. So that generation, to be a part of that and to have competed against people so good and so determined, and then you think that Tom Carroll got him, Tom Curren got 3, Derek Ho, Damien Hardman, Sonny Garcia, Martin Potter, Barton Lynch. I mean, a lot of people got world titles out of our generation because we were all...
Then Kelly Slater came and took a bunch.
Yeah, we were all given up. They were on holidays at that point. I remember the Momentum generation coming and thinking, I had no competitive spirit left at that point.
But no men on tour ever quit because they're pregnant, but some of the women do.
Well... We've got Joan DeFay, she's pregnant. Tachi just took the year off. Felipe had taken off. Gabrielle's injured.
Did Tatiana make an announcement?
I think, I think she just needed space, and I saw conversation around the Olympic Games and whether that contributed to the burnout, which is once every 4 years. I don't see that's so. The tour's sort of more compressed. Things are more, in theory, easier than they've ever been. The money's good enough to float you and someone. The timing is a 6-month tour, essentially. You've got time off all around that thing. I think they take time off because they can. Right. We couldn't. You couldn't take a year off because you was tired. I did 15 years and I was never in one place for more than 3 months in 15 years.
But some of those years, how many contests did you surf some of those years? 30
every second week, more.
Did you say 30 or 13?
No, 30.
30.
30, easy. There were
30 contests a year.
And so every second week of the year you were losing pretty much. You might win it, and you win a couple. We were on the QS, the CT and the Challenger. You know what I mean? Really,
in a sense. One tour, though, huh?
One tour, mate. And they would start on a Monday. You would travel on Monday, get to wherever you were. The event would start Wednesday. I would surf Thursday, Friday as a series. No waiting periods. End Sunday afternoon, fly Monday, start Wednesday, end Sunday afternoon.
Your heat is literally Thursday at 2:30, and that's that.
Well, they might shuffle and change a little bit depending on the conditions of the period, and they try to get...
So we're talking like hours of waiting period,
in
not
the end,
days.
Those guys, our generation, could surf anything.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what it was. And it could be, there's all the talk about how it was 1 foot and shit.
You look at your surfing and guess you're like, let's go to battle.
Yeah,
let's go.
That's right. And it didn't matter whether it was 1 foot or 20. Like, we had storm surf 15, 20-foot faces in Hossegor or Biarritz, out of control storm. No one's surfing on them days. Margaret River, crazy days. So we had to be ready to go, big or small, good or bad. And that's where that level of surfing really came from, the fact that we had to be able to ride them all. Couldn't just be good in the tube. You can Nelly, just be good in the tube and exist on the tour Nelly, Or if you're good on a right point, you're a super good chance of existing on the tour now, aren't you? Because there's a lot of right points. Where do we go from here? They go to Gold Coast, Margaret River, the Cut, then they go Rio, J-Bay, Tahiti, Fiji. It's a good tour they built. When you look at the tour, it's a good tour, mate. And so with good structure, the venues are fantastic. We look forward to watching the rest of the year pan out. Maybe paying a little more attention. But I feel like there's this Ethan Ewing energy in the air, and it takes energy to succeed.
A little secret we know about is that Outer Known is the presenting sponsor of the Trestles event. So guess who's going to surf at Trestles?
Kelly Slater, is he?
Kelly Slater.
See, like Jordy, these are important heats. They're redefining consciousness, redefining our potential to see a future for ourselves, mate. It's so important what they do, the way they're doing it. And I support Kelly getting wild cards till he's dead.
Yeah.
Keep giving them to him. We're going to send out, to finish the show, we want to send out respects to Ramsey Bukaim. We saw him injure himself at Bells Beach. Leg got stuck in a rock, the wave hits. It makes me cringe. I feel sick. I've got my hip replacement coming up any time now. And so hopefully by the time we talk next, I'll have a fresh hip and we'll be back new and ready to go. Make sure you follow and subscribe the thing. Every video I watch, go, click the button, subscribe, and I feel like an idiot doing it. So I never do it. But go on, please, subscribe, press the button, do all that shit for me. Thank you, PK. Thank you, people. Thank you, A New Earth Project. And I hope you enjoy the show.